They said you can't turn a hoe into a housewife,
Well, we've proven them wrong.
but
We're still keeping it nasty.
This is the Host to Housewives podcast. Welcome back to the Host to Housewives podcast. I'm Katie.
I'm Keenan.
This is episode 8.
Episode 8. Can
You're
you
running out of
believe we
fingers.
made it to 8?
No. Bro, I
Okay.
thought we might quit at 5.
Honestly, I never thought that probably any of these would even see the light of day. I think I just thought we were going to have fun with it and we'd actually never follow through because we do that a lot in our life where we're like, we're going to start being creative and we're going to do X, Y, Z. And then 2 weeks later, we're not doing that anymore.
We putting sex on the internet.
Yeah, instead now we're putting sex conversations on the internet.
Everybody loves it. It's fine.
Oh, I think it's totally fine.
I'm here for it.
It's definitely been interesting. I've gotten good feedback. And then, of course, obviously, we've gotten not good feedback from some people that I won't say close to us, because when I say that people are close to me, it means that they're in my inner circle. And these people definitely are not. They're so far removed from my life, but still in
Trying to be relevant.
Yeah. And just like in the background of it, I feel like. And so, yeah. But we'll get into that a whole lot more later because there's just no avoiding certain topics. And I feel like, well, everybody's just got to suck it up.
Yeah.
So,
But you know what? Either way, let's talk about shitty men.
Okay.
Or shitty relationships.
Just shitty partners.
Shitty partners.
Yeah. Let's talk about shitty partners because I've come to the realization that not just women listen to our podcast, which I think is awesome.
I think it's awesome. Actually, I was just looking on my way over here. It says that we have listeners from Spain.
Oh, that's cool.
From Portugal.
Don't know anybody there either.
And from India.
Very cool.
So just on Spotify. I don't know how to work YouTube.
Yeah, don't look at me. I don't know how to work any of that. And I feel like eventually we're gonna have to figure out how to get on Apple, but I just haven't really made that a priority.
No, I don't think it's a priority yet.
I mean, I don't know. Everybody has Spotify for the most part.
Yeah, I don't have Apple.
It's on your phone.
I don't even have the iTunes app or anything. I delete all that shit because I'm not using it.
You
It takes up space on my phone.
Oh, that's true. I listen to podcasts though. Like you don't
on
listen
Apple.
Yeah, like all the true crime podcasts that I listen to them on Apple.
Oh, I'm Spotify only.
Oh, okay. Well, for the longest time, I didn't even know that Spotify had podcasts. So
that's the only place I listen to anything.
No,
you know what's funny though? Russell texted Joey, and it was a picture of our Hoe to Housewife pipeline, and he was like, "What the fuck just popped up on my YouTube?" He was just like, "Why is this on my YouTube?"
Why? Tell him he just.
I said, "You're welcome."
Maybe he needs some tips.
Single ass.
Single ass. He needs some tips. But so today we're going to talk about toxic relationships and basically how to identify when you're in one.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's probably a little bit easier now, like in this day and age with all the technology, all the social media platforms, to get information to help you understand what type of relationship you're in.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was young, all this didn't exist. So I'm getting a lot of stuff across my feed that kind of makes me remember some of the stuff that I've gone through and just how many girls, especially girls, get into relationships where there's a power dynamic where it lies mostly with the man and not with her. And so she's in this struggle to try to figure out like what type of relationship she's in, if it's bad, if it's a blip, or if this is toxic behavior.
Right. So like whether it's an ick, whether it's just incompatibility, or whether it is pack your shit and run.
Right.
There's those 3 different levels of it, right? Like ick is like, he wears socks with sandals. That's not cute, right? Or he chews with his mouth open.
Sure.
That's an ick, right? But it's not a end of the world. It's not an end of the relationship. Right. It's like, hey babe, can you chew with your mouth closed? Then you fix it. Incompatible, like, I believe in Jesus, you're an atheist.
Right. Well, that's not gonna work for you.
It's not gonna work out long term.
Definitely. I think the biggest thing is like being able to identify when there are patterns, which when I was younger, especially like as a single mom, I was so desperate to find a partner, not because I couldn't do it on my own, but I think because being single was like the thing that was used against me from my oldest son's father, like why they deserve to have custody over me. I feel like I disregarded a lot of things out of sheer hope that maybe this is my person.
Yeah.
And I overlooked a lot of things out of some sort of desperation. And, it's obviously every situation is different for everybody. But for me, it was something that altered my brain chemistry for a very long time and set me into a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it set me into this pattern where I thought that men acting that way was normal.
Mm-hmm.
Anger issues, manipulation, financial abuse, things like that. I feel like I I didn't realize that what was happening to me was some form of gaslighting or just toxic in a toxic situation. And I play parts, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
because I'm not innocent.
Well, and also like we've said before, when you're in a situation and you're with someone that in all reality you shouldn't be with, it's like trying to fit a puzzle piece that doesn't fit, and you're forcing it, and the edges are becoming frayed, and you're losing who you are, and they're losing who they are, and it just becomes it doesn't work. It becomes frayed and brittle, and it didn't work out. So like, I know that when I was dating, I mean, I was a dick, right? Like, I mean, I can sit there and attest to that. I wasn't always nice to the people I was dating. I wasn't necessarily supposed to be with them, but I've had serious boyfriends. And even then, like, if I know you're lying to me, and I'm telling you that I know that you're lying to me, I might lose my shit. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go crazy because I know I know, and you're telling me that I'm wrong. And so then I'm like,
trying to prove that you're not crazy.
Trying to prove that I'm not crazy, and you're just continuing,
which makes you look crazier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it's like when you're in those situations, I mean, like men who are like, oh, my ex is crazy. My ex is crazy. What did you do? What did you lying? What did you do? What did you do to make her crazy? Yeah. You know, that's gross behavior to me. So that's always worrisome. So if you meet the man and he says all my exes are crazy.
Yeah, if every single ex is crazy, usually there's a common denominator, and it's him or her. If a woman does the same thing and says, like, oh my gosh, like, oh, my exes are crazy, they were so jealous, or whatever the situation is. I mean, it's just one of those things that there's usually a reason.
Yeah, like, what did you do to
one boyfriend, sure. Right. But all of them, that means that obviously something in your behavior is making them jealous. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I think the one thing that I never really connected the dots on was toxic behavior, and that it was a pattern that was repeating because it changed. Mm-hmm. It wasn't always verbal abuse. It wasn't always financial abuse. It wasn't always this or always that. It was all these little bitty things that slowly started to chip away at my sanity and who I was. And I just started to believe that all men were a certain way. And
that you had to accept it.
And then I just had to accept that. And not that I don't love my parents, but I grew up in a household where my dad yelled a lot. Mm-hmm. And he was angry and miserable in his job, and just, we felt the wrath of that. But a lot of those things I actually thought were normal because mm-hmm. that's all I knew. And when I went into adult relationships, I thought getting yelled at was normal. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm not talking about just a normal argument where, you know, like you're disagreeing about something. I'm talking about a guy walks in the house, something is not absolutely perfect, and he just loses his shit, throws stuff everywhere. I mean, I've cooked a dinner before and had it thrown in the trash because it's not what he wanted. Yeah. And I mean, like, when you're in it, you just think you must have done something wrong. Like, I must have said something, done something, not listened, you know, and you blame yourself. And I just feel like that's normal.
Yeah.
And the women now that like are so used to hearing this type of information about men or women or whatever, and they're able to pick up on those things so quickly and mm-hmm. be like, I think this is a red flag. I'm out of here. Like, I wish I would have been that way. Yeah. I would have saved myself a lot of heartache and a lot of trouble.
I think too, like, so when one of my friends was dating this guy from college, and he was trash. Trash. She is Miss Texas, precious, adorable, hotter than any other woman he's ever had in his life. Yeah. Treated her like garbage. Mm-hmm. And we went through a time where like, but she was so set that this was her person, right, and her best friend, because when the times were good, they were good.
They were good.
But when they were bad, they were bad. And I just remember something that her mom said to her. It was, you can take in all this information. You can hear what we're saying. You can feel what you're feeling, but you will not leave until you're ready.
Right.
Until you have made the decision that enough is enough.
Yeah. So I think for me, like, a lot of things start very nonchalantly, right? It's never, oh, you can't do this. That's not normally how it starts.
Mm-hmm.
It's just their reaction to what you do. And they continue to have that reaction until you stop doing that behavior. Whether it's the clothes that you wear, the food that you eat, whether it's the people you hang around with, it's never, oh, don't do this. It's always their reaction to what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And then it slowly makes you stop doing it so
Mm-hmm.
you can avoid that reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's over and over and over again until eventually you don't even know how to truly think for yourself.
Right.
And you doubt your own ability to normalize your emotions. You think that there's something wrong with you. You think that the way that you think is wrong. And then you doubt yourself moving forward for a long time.
You stop being yourself. You start hiding parts of yourself.
Yeah.
You start shrinking bits of your personality that soon, like, you don't even know who you are anymore.
Yeah. It doesn't always have to be violent.
Mm-mm.
It can be subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And it, at least in my experience. And so it can escalate to that. But little manipulations start to compile until you don't even know if you can make a decision on your own anymore because you doubt, because you ask yourself, why would their reaction to this be bad if it wasn't bad? Right? Because like you don't understand, and you can never quite get your brain around why they act the way that they do, say the things that they say, or treat you the way that they treat you if you didn't deserve it. And that was always my issue, is I always just thought, well, maybe this is what I deserve based on some of the things that I've done, not to them, but maybe this is my karma coming back around from some of the mistakes that I made. And this is all I deserve because I wasn't a good person between here and there. So maybe this is all I get. And that's a very hard thing to reconcile with yourself once you're far removed from it and something wonderful comes into your life, and you'll doubt it. And you just hopefully are really truly blessed with somebody who lets you kind of unpack that trauma, and instead of using it against you is like, I'm going to stick with you until we work through this. Because like, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, I'm not going to up and leave you out of nowhere. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And even to this day, I still have little bitty things that I do, even though, like, to avoid conflict, even though none of those things have ever pissed off my husband. I like, if my husband, I hear him at the door, I get up.
Yeah. To greet him.
At first, it wasn't to greet him.
Oh.
It was so I didn't look like a lazy piece of shit. Even though I had already cleaned the house, done everything I was supposed to do, worked a full day, come home, prepped dinner, done all the things. If I was still sitting on the couch when a previous significant other came in, or even when my dad got home from work, we would get yelled at, or I would get yelled at. Oh, is this what you've done all day? Like, you're fucking worthless. Like, and I'm not, my dad's never said those words, but what I'm saying is like, I've been in situations where I've been accused of being lazy or worthless simply for the fact that I was sitting down when somebody came into the house. And that's a hard thing to
move past, because you're still holding on to it from your dad when you were a teenager.
And I've talked to my sister about this, and my sister said it took her a long time to stop doing that as well, because it was just one of those things that we weren't allowed to be sitting. But all of those things can alter your brain chemistry and have you act a different way or create patterns that you didn't even realize you've created until you've come so far. And you're just like, why do I do this?
Yeah.
Why am I this way? And if you're not able to unpack all that stuff on your own, or even with a partner, like, you're going to carry that shit to the grave. And you're always going to have these little habits that you don't understand why you have them.
Yeah. So now, though, there's things nowadays that there's a fine line between toxic and respect.
Okay.
In my opinion. So things like, my husband and I share a location, and some people will say that that's controlling. And there's no denying that it can be. It can, in the wrong hands. In the wrong hands. Yes. If someone is using it to watch where you're going, to tell you that you're not supposed to be where, or, whatever, that is controlling. Agreed. I mean, I'll be like, where you at? Why you in Jasper? I know. Katie texted me Wednesday and was like, what time you go in the gym? Oh, wait, where the hell are you?
Because Katie and I share locations with each other.
So things like that, like, but that's a mutual like thing between us. We're
Yeah.
both comfortable doing it. But if someone goes in and like turns on your location and says like you
Yeah.
have to share your location, they don't ever turn it off, I would warn that that's a red flag.
Yeah.
I would be like, well, why?
Yeah.
Because even sometimes controlling can be disguised as caring.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a fine line there.
I agree.
You have
Yeah.
to be respected instead of controlled. Care doesn't, like, over caring doesn't mean that I have to watch you every second of the day.
Right.
That's controlling.
Yeah.
And fucking terrifying.
Yeah. But like, we all share locations in this house.
Yeah.
It's not for controlling. It's simply like, okay, Evan's still at Whataburger. What is taking so long?
Do you think, now not every couple shares locations.
Yeah.
For all different sorts of reasons.
Sure.
Do you think that that is toxic? Do you think it's a red flag or a green flag? Because, like, what kind of reasons would you say should you share location? And what would be the reasons why you wouldn't? Like, that were green flags?
I can tell you that I have dated guys that I would never share my location with, simply for the fact that you don't fucking own me and we're not married. Like, who the fuck do you think you are trying to tell me what to do? But I share locations with my husband now because I used to travel for work.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like females, especially, should always have somebody watching their back.
Yeah, I agree.
And it doesn't have to be a boyfriend. It could be your best friend. Yeah. I mean, even though I share it with you, my sister, my kids, and my husband, like, I don't share it with my mom, but I feel like my mom would never even know where to look. You know what I mean? Actually, I think even my niece has my location. Like, JC has my location. And every now and then I'll just check her location, make sure she's safe.
Yeah.
Even though she shares with her parents. But to me, if you're in a healthy relationship and it is for safety purposes,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything wrong with it. But
Yeah.
if you're with somebody who's controlling and it's not your choice, obviously that's an issue.
Yeah.
I think you know when it is appropriate and when it's not.
Yeah. And the same thing, so sharing locations, right, can be controlling, can be caring.
Right.
How about money? Because money can be used to control you.
100%.
So if I have a credit card connected to my husband's account,
mm-hmm.
and I'm using it, I saw this girl. Okay. I saw this girl on TikTok, and she said, my husband taught me a lesson. I went to the grocery store to get something, and my card declined. Mm-hmm. And she called him. She said, what the fuck? And he said, yeah, you spent too much money. I turned off your card.
What? Oh no, that's a problem.
For $10 at the grocery store.
Mm-mm.
Put a lock on her card so she could not use her card. That's and wild. Everybody in the comments, all these men are talking about, well, you shouldn't spend so much money. He already told you that you shouldn't spend so much money.
Yeah, but without telling your partner and having a conversation and just going in and passive aggressively turning off their debit card, no.
That is a red flag.
A red flag for me.
Financial abuse.
To me, that is a red flag. Is she a stay-at-home mom?
I don't know. I didn't deep dive into it.
So
pissed me off.
I have shared a bank account once before JJ. It was not in my best interest, and it did not bode well for me when that relationship ended. Mm. And it was never beneficial for me during the relationship because my spending was being constantly watched. It actually made me very skittish
to even use your card.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it made me skittish after all of that. It made me very weary of ever joining bank accounts again.
Because you didn't want your money questioned.
Because I didn't want to be controlled.
Yeah.
And I struggle with being controlled because it's happened to me in the past in different ways and for different various reasons, you know. And whenever children are involved or you have this fear of losing your kid for whatever reason, you sometimes let people control you because it's the lesser of two evils. Yeah. Keeping my kid and sacrificing my autonomy seemed the lesser of two evils, in my opinion.
And that's not to say that having a conversation with your spouse about spending.
Oh, that's what I was trying to say. He should have said, babe, you have spent way too much money on Amazon or cosmetics or whatever it is that you're spending money on. Mm-hmm. And you need to take this down a notch. Honestly, the turning off the card thing is, unless you're at the point of overdrafting the account, right, is the only time. But other than that, like,
that is a form of abuse.
To me, that's a no.
That's insanity. No. Like, what if she was on the side of the road with no gas?
Right.
And you cut her off from the gas? That's insane to me.
But
and having a conversation though and saying like, hey, maybe we need to cut down, we need to work on a budget. Like,
yeah,
I understand. I don't want to tell you that you can't buy things. This is what my husband says to me all the time. I don't want to tell you, no, you can't have the things that you want.
But I also need you to be mindful.
I need you to be mindful of the money that you're spending.
Right.
And there's a difference when he says, bitch, you spend too much money.
Yeah.
Why is Amazon coming to my house 3 times a day? You know, the doorbell's going off. He's like, what did you buy?
Yeah.
And it's joking.
Right.
Versus when we actually have a conversation of, hey, you've spent a lot of money this month.
Right.
I need you to take a step back and really reevaluate what you're going to buy. And that's a respect thing, not a control thing. Right. I think that if you are in a relationship where someone is controlling you with money, I've never been controlled with money, so I don't know. Right. I've never had.
You hoed all the way up until you got married, so, or she got with Joey, so nobody, we're not merging anything with anybody.
Nobody. No. And I always made my own money. I always contributed my own part. So like, you're not going to tell me what I can and can't do. And also, I didn't respect those men, right? We weren't in a serious relationship. Right. So like, you know, but if you are in a relationship and you are sharing money and someone's trying to control you with money, like, baby, stash that shit under the bed.
I used to. Every time I would go to the grocery store, I would get cash back. And then I would stash that away. And I would do it every time I went to the store because he could only see the bank account. Not the receipt.
That was at the grocery store.
But I think the biggest thing that people have to understand is the volatile up and downs.
Oh, yeah.
Of the toxic cycle, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, but when it's good, it's good. Mm-hmm. Those words should not come out of your mouth. Mm-hmm. If you're having to say, oh, when it's good, but when it's bad, it's really bad.
It's all bad.
It's all bad because those goods are only used to lure you into a false sense of security so you don't leave. Mm-hmm. And the thing is you don't have to be in a relationship with somebody for them to be emotionally abusive or controlling. A bully is a bully regardless of whether it's a friend, an ex, a baby daddy, or a partner. It does not have to necessarily always be the person you're in a relationship with. Parents control and manipulate and do all the things that, because I hate to tell you this, but narcissist partners turn into narcissist parents. But having those people in your life, it just keeps you in this constant state of anxiety. Mm-hmm. Going through a custody battle with my oldest son's dad way back in the day, because I think I went through 3 of them.
With him?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
It was always, first time it was for full custody. Well, they were always for custody.
Yeah.
The first time was obviously full custody and wanted to move him out of state. That started my cycle of being a massive people pleaser and not speaking up for myself and trying to figure out how not to rock the boat, because the most important thing to me in my life was my son. And so when you love someone the way that a mother, and I'm not saying fathers don't, but the way that you love a child as a mom, like, it is this all-consuming thing. And when someone threatens to take that from you, like, it will send most women into a tailspin, because it's the one thing that I feel like is used against women and new mothers all the time. And that started a very vicious cycle of allowing myself to be controlled by other people out of fear. Not only is going through all of that stuff emotionally damaging and causes anxiety, depression, I had panic attacks. It was crippling financially, which always just increased the anxiety, increased the depression, increased everything else. So, going through all of that, I will say it definitely made me stronger, but it did set me on a path that took me a very long time to get out of. And I feel like it wasn't until I met my husband and I felt really safe that I was able to eventually work through that, but not without potentially damaging my marriage, because I hadn't dealt with all of it and I still had all these triggers that I hadn't dealt with. And so if you're ever in a situation or a relationship long-term or in some sort of push-pull situation with an ex or a baby's daddy or anything like that, you really should seek counseling afterwards, because it's very hard to deal with on your own.
Yeah, it's hard to look back and see what you went through with someone and the way that it was then, and almost, not that you didn't have any self-respect, but you weren't able to respect yourself in the situation and say no, because you were financially controlled, you were manipulated, you were basically, I'll let you keep my son for now, but just know I can come back and take him
at any time, or try to anytime. And I think that was the biggest thing, is when you go through something like that, especially when you don't have a partner and you're going through it alone and you're trying to understand why they see you so differently than you see yourself, you start to think that they must be right, because like otherwise why would they do this? Like why would they try to prove I'm a bad mom if I'm not?
Right.
And so until you get out of that and you can look at things in hindsight, I think like you definitely need to get with a therapist, because it's very hard to overcome on your own, and it took me a very long time. Yeah. I still to this day, based on a past relationship, if I drop and break something, I freeze because I'm bracing to get yelled at. JJ's never yelled at me. I break shit all the time, and he's just like, "Oh, don't move. Let me get a broom. Oh gosh, let me whatever." But I still freeze completely and go, I'm waiting for him to yell at me, and then it doesn't come, and then I'm like, what? And then I have to calm my nervous system down again. I'm better now.
I still have that same thing, right? I remember when we've had the same dishes since we lived in Joey's townhouse, and he was on a work trip, and I was unloading the dishwasher, and I dropped one, shattered. One of the little ones. He don't even use little ones. I use little ones.
Yeah.
Shattered. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
What am I going to do?
And I texted him, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I broke a plate. And he was like,
okay.
We've had those plates for like 10 years.
They're not collector's edition, okay? Like they're from Target.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like they're your plates. And he was like, there are plates. I don't give a shit about the plates.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I still like, and even then didn't get in trouble, right? Because it's a fucking plate. The boat, the anxiety that I have.
Yeah.
If I fuck up the boat,
yeah,
he's gonna murder me, right? He won't. He's gone through 2 props.
I know.
$1,000 each.
$1,000 each.
two props, and I'm worried about anything. Like when I'm drying down the boat, I'm looking for scratches. I'm looking because I'm like, but I still like, I'm so scared of doing something and being blamed for it and getting in trouble for it, even though he's like he doesn't care. Yeah. And that's a hard thing to move past, because it's and I, you know me, I'm not trauma response, but it is a trauma response. If you've gone through anything for an extended period of time, especially with someone who is a narcissist, and I don't like to throw that word around, I'm just using it kind of as a term, but like who's manipulative, who, you know, has ups and downs, and like you can't keep up with all their mood swings, or their reactions are just totally over here anytime something minor happens. It's very hard to rewire your brain to not have that reaction when something happens like that in the future. And so like, I just like, it took me so long to not immediately have those responses that, I mean, get help. Get help. Please get therapy. Don't do what I did and go, oh, I can do this. I'm going to work through this myself. But I was already in a marriage when I did start working through it, because like after a certain point, I would be dating somebody and I had flipped to the complete opposite. I tolerated nothing because like, I was like, well, I'm not going to put up with this shit. I'm not putting up with anything. And I'm not saying that is the best way to be either. No. But to me, it was better than taking shit and not saying anything. Yeah. And then I had to learn to like kind of calm down. Yeah. Well, because that was the way that I treated all relationships. Like, you're not gonna do nothing to me. We're not doing this. I'm not interested in putting up with this. Like, it's not cool by me. I don't give a shit. I'm out. Yeah. If you don't want to play by my rules, you don't want to do what I want. Peace. Yeah. Bye. I can do no wrong. And honestly, like that was the way that I had that mentality in our early 20s. Yeah. I mean, that's the way that I treated people. I mean, that's the way I treated Joey in the beginning. Yeah. I can do no wrong. Like, you're a man and you aren't shit. Yeah. That's how I did. But I also come from a family where like nobody says sorry. Yeah. Nobody, apologizes for their bad behavior. There's no apology. There's no. Maybe it's a generational thing. We don't do that in our house either. There's no apology. People just skip over it. And we just move on. Keep moving. Like yeah, I'm a big, I apologize for a lot. I only am now because Joey's family is. Okay. And so he would be like, let's sit down and have a conversation. Okay. And let's work through this. And then I would have to be like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, but okay. I am sorry. I did overreact. I did not give you the opportunity to react the way that I wanted you to, whatever. And even to this day, like, he'll make jokes and he'll be like, she don't say sorry. Yeah. I'm working on it. It's definitely a hard thing to learn how to do, and to do it because you actually mean it, not a response because someone has made you feel like
you should be sorry.
Yes.
Even though you did nothing wrong.
Even though you did nothing wrong.
Because.
Or it's an appeasement to make sure that you don't blow up on me.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. Like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. Like, because you know that they're going to lose their shit any second if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Or apologizing for buying yourself lunch because they didn't want you to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Bitch, I'm trying to eat this spicy McChicken in my car. Like, leave me alone. Like, damn.
So yeah, so there's a fine line between caring and controlling.
100%.
And you have to be able to step back and take a look and be like, okay.
Yeah. Where does this come from? Does this come from the fact that they love me and not masquerading as love?
Yes.
There's a difference. Or is it coming from a place that they're trying to control me? And I just don't know. Control is such a, I don't like to be controlled.
I don't either, but
it's a very hard thing for me.
Well,
and luckily Judge is not like that at all. He's like, be you, be free. You're a free spirit. Just go be
like
you.
We said last week about talking about submission and like being submissive to your husband. Like, you're like, I ain't submissive.
I said I don't like to use that word, but it doesn't mean that I'm not.
It doesn't mean you're being controlled,
right?
But
100%.
But like, I also think there is something to be said for communication.
Oh, 1,000%.
In those instances when you are trying to figure out if it's controlling or if it's caring, because there are some things that someone may be carrying from their parents, from a previous relationship that they're bringing in because they never healed from it.
Yeah.
And it may come off as, you're not going to control me.
Right.
Or it may come off as, well, I need to be controlling. Yeah. And they don't always mean it. So this is not to just write someone off immediately.
Yeah.
You should be able to have a conversation and say, hey, why do you check my location every hour?
Right.
Are you insecure? Are you afraid that I'm cheating on you?
Right.
Or why do you want my location? Do you think I'm cheating on you?
Right.
Why will you not share your location? Are you cheating on me? Like, these are questions to have to overcome, because not everything has to be a complete red flag.
Right.
They can be like a orange flag, yellow flag.
It can also just be a misunderstanding of each other, because in a previous relationship, it may have been required, right? So you move into a new relationship that's healthy and you're like, well, let's share our locations. And he's like, no, we don't need to do that. And you're like, well, why? Like, I had to share my location with my previous boyfriend or previous girlfriend. And like, why don't you want it?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Like, why don't you want to share your location with me? And I think it's just all about understanding the person that you're with and having those conversations pretty early on, not too early. Try to stay tuned.
Share your location.
Not too early. But when you're, and I feel like you'll know, you know what I mean? Like, when you're in a loving, mutual, respectful relationship.
Unless you're being blindsided.
Don't get me wrong. I was about to say that. Don't get me wrong. There are men out and women out there that wear a completely different mask until the day that they know they have you under control and they've done everything that they can. And now it's time to take that mask off.
Yeah. And if you are in that situation, you can't fault yourself, because no one but them knows.
You can't blame yourself when someone lies to you. You can't blame yourself for believing the lies when they presented them to you in such a beautiful way where you don't see any fault in what they're saying, unless you start catching them lying. I mean, you really can't. I mean, people are really good actors and really good liars. And I feel like at that point, like, you really just have to understand, like, it's not anything that you did. It's just who they are.
It's just who they are.
And you're not going to change them.
Yeah.
That's the thing you have to understand, is if they've had to tell you more than once, oh, I'm going to change this time, they're lying.
They're a liar. So on the other side of that, there have been many times where Joey has says, I need you to step up in this way.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Or, okay, I'm going to be better.
Sure.
And then I don't.
Yeah, been there, did that.
And like, it's not that I don't want to be better, but I fall short.
Sure.
So I think that
we're imperfect.
The other thing is, like, yes, if you have to tell someone over and over and over, then have a conversation. But also, just because the change doesn't last. Like, there are things, right? If you cheat and you're actually remorseful and you come back and we work
like it was a one-off thing, right?
And then you're cheating again. You're doing it again. You're doing it again, again, again.
Right.
That's a no.
Yeah.
But if it's like, hey, like, I want you to initiate sex, and then you initiate sex for a month and then you don't.
Yeah.
That's not a be all end all of the marriage.
Right. You just have to
remind
reiterate
someone.
it.
Yeah. Little things.
100%.
Hey, you leave dishes in the sink. Hey, can we not leave dishes in the sink overnight? You do it for a month and then something happens and you don't do it. That's not like,
well, nobody's going to be perfect 100% of the time. We're
right.
all going to fall short because life just gets in the way.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between falling short and actually like being a good person and really trying to like move your relationship forward than being in a relationship where nothing you do is right.
Yeah.
And all they constantly do is tell you everything you do wrong, try to get you to change your behaviors or whatever for them because they want you to act that way. And you know, you've heard it said 1,000 times before, like, you want to acknowledge my reaction, but not your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And so you did something that made me lose my shit because you've been doing this over and over and over and over and over again. And I've been giving you grace. And then suddenly I'm like, fuck this. Like, fuck this. Like, I'm done giving you grace on this. And then when I lose my shit, I'm crazy. And you don't acknowledge all the ways that you pushed me to get to this point. Yeah. That's when it's an issue, in my opinion. And I also want to state, like, the younger you are, the dumber you are. And that's nobody's fault. We've all been there. We all like want to make excuses because, you know, well, there's no reason for them to be this way, right? Like, or you want to make excuses because we like to give a lot of grace when we're younger because we want people to give us grace. But there's a huge difference between like seeing all the red flags and making excuses and obviously them manipulating you and you not knowing that they're lying to you. But we're just not very smart because we haven't had the experience to back it up. Being knowledgeable and being knowledgeable and having the understanding and self-awareness, it comes with age and experience. And I didn't understand or know any of these things until I was in my 30s because I hadn't been exposed to it. The internet wasn't super huge like back then where you could see all this information and hear other people's stories to know that there were other people out there going through the same things that you're going through. And so now that people are able to share their stories in such a public way, I feel like the younger generation has a little bit more insight into situations like that where they can recognize them a little bit faster than growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s where we didn't have access to things like that. And so I think it's really important to always have these conversations, especially for young women, because we're the ones that have a tendency to get into these abusive relationships with these toxic people, and then we have a tendency to continue the cycle. And if you don't break the cycle before you get married and before you have children, your children are going to continue with that same cycle because they don't know any different. They don't know that this isn't normal. But if they grow up only seeing this, they think that all relationships are supposed to be that way, and that's not true. But definitely, you know, I would say the top things to kind of take away from all of this is like to be mindful if they're trying to mask caring for you, but they're really controlling you. Any violent or manipulative behavior, like anything that is volatile cycles of up and down, up and down. If they use your past against you, the things that they know about you that you've shared with them in confidence, they're using those things as weapons now. That's not a partner. And you know, any deceitful, lying, cheating behavior and any sort of abuse that's emotional, financial, physical, it's just, those are all the things you need to really watch out for. And one experience doesn't necessarily mean it's behavior, but look for patterns.
Look for patterns. The repetitive nature is what you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Don't fault yourself if you get blindsided.
Right.
If you are manipulated into believing.
And also talk to someone, like, because they might be able to help you get out of that situation. Yeah. Which is always the hardest part.
If you feel like there's no one to help you, I promise you there is someone out there that'll help you
get out of situations. Yeah, for sure. But I think we want to kind of end that with some green flags to look for, just to kind of give you a little bit of hope, because the world is not filled with horrible men. I know that it feels that way because the only stories that you really see online are, I was in this toxic relationship, I was with this bad man, I was with this person and they were horrible to me. Please know that no matter what situation you're in, like, there are good men out there. They're not perfect. No man is, but there are good men out there, and great communication. And when their actions really align with what they say, like, that's one of my biggest things. Like, you can say what you want all day, but until your actions really align with your words, like, to me, you're just full of shit. Yeah. And so that's a big deal.
I like a man who reassures me. Yeah. Who compliments me openly. Yeah. I like a man who is kind to everyone. together. So a man who's kind to everyone, has good relationships, communicates, compliments openly, and reassures you without like, oh my God, like really I have to tell you that I love you again. That yes. Yeah. I need to be told that you love me every 5 minutes. Set an alarm on your phone.
But I think my number one is how people argue.
Okay.
And I say that because prior to my husband, I've never been in a relationship where, for the most part, long-term relationship where arguing didn't turn nasty.
Yeah. You gotta argue kindly.
Yeah, like having a disagreement versus spitting insults at you and throwing all your shortcomings in your face, like, no.
Yeah.
And so fighting fair and fighting with the hope to resolve instead of being right is a huge deal for me. But not name calling, laughing when somebody's upset, that is, I might fucking murder you. If I'm upset and I'm crying and you start laughing at me and telling me I'm pathetic, I might burn the whole fucking house down.
Okay, so on the backside of that, if you're in a relationship where you are having spiteful disagreements, hateful discussions, you can come back from it. Like you can start somewhere, you can address it and say, hey, this is not how I want to communicate.
Sure.
And work on it. Because I know when Joey and I first got together, I mean, that's how I thought. It was not nice.
But I also think like you were young. Y'all were young. Y'all were in your early 20s.
Yeah.
Like how old were you when you met?
22.
Girl, I wasn't a fair fighter then either. It definitely comes with maturity.
Yeah.
But if you're dating someone who's in their late 20s, early 30s, and they don't fight, they don't argue to resolve, they argue to be right, and they're name calling and bashing you and throwing that part of emotional maturity surpassed them, and they never got on that train.
I was in my late 20s until Joey and I really started having kind conversations.
But why? What prompted y'all to start having those kind conversations?
He said, you're not going to talk to me like this.
Okay.
You're not going to act like this. And there were times where I laughed at him while he was upset.
Really?
Yes.
Damn, girl, you a bitch.
I know. Okay, I understand. So on the other side of that, you can grow from it if you have a conversation and say, like Joey said, he said, you're not going to talk to me like this.
Okay.
We're going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation about this. We're not just going to blow it out of proportion and brush it under the rug, and you're not just going to leave and move on from it and pretend like it didn't happen. It took him setting me down and having that conversation. So like, if anybody's listening to this and your husband does what I did, or you're doing what I was doing, like you can come back from it and make sure that is something you work on, is having respectful arguments.
Yeah. I mean, because if you can't get to that point, you're never going to grow as a couple.
Yes.
Because I mean, it's toxic. And like I said, I've been toxic.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, if you are in a situation that you are being gaslit, you're being emotionally controlled, financially controlled, not everything has to be the be all end all. It doesn't have to be, the end of your relationship, but you have to be able to communicate and figure out why those things are happening. Because if it is manipulation, if it is actually controlling, disguised as being caring, you want to make sure you get to the bottom of that and decide if you need to run or if it's something you can work on together.
Yes. And I think it's so important to set those boundaries very early on. Don't let one little bitty thing go, oh, it's just a one-time thing, because then they think they can get away with it. Mm-hmm. So if somebody does something to you that makes you uncomfortable with their actions, their words, you need to address it right then and say, oh, hold up. You're not going to talk to me like that. Oh, wait, you're not about to manipulate me that way. Like, I know what you did. I have proof. You're not going to gaslight me into thinking anything different. Like, you need to know. So make sure that you set boundaries really early. I think that's really important. And I didn't learn to set boundaries until I was way into my 30s.
Yeah.
Don't be me.
Don't be me.
Be Katie.
Don't be me.
You're better at setting boundaries. You're like the only person that I really know that is like, if you don't want to do something, you're just like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to come over. No, I don't want to hang out. No, like you don't care. Like, you know what you want and what you don't want. And I feel like you're very good at voicing those things. And I feel like a lot of us aren't.
Yeah.
I was raised to be polite. So it was like, oh, come hug your aunt, come hug your uncle, come hug your whatever. And I didn't have a choice. Yeah. It was like, it was expected. And I took that behavior into adulthood, and I had a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
I put myself in a lot of situations that I shouldn't have been in because I did not know how to say no. And the one thing that I love about A and B's kids is that I'd be like, oh, hi, can I have a hug? And she's like, no, thank you. And I'm like, okay. Because I was raised to always be like, oh, hug. But she says no. And I'm like, oh, got it. Cool. And I absolutely love that they have raised their girls differently than what I was raised. It still sometimes takes me aback, and it has to configure my brain for a second to go, oh, I must have done something wrong, and know that it's not about me.
But the older generation will be like, that's rude.
Right. But no, but I love that about them. I love that they've raised their girls that way, because I wasn't raised that way. And it put me in a lot of really bad situations where I did not speak up and say, I don't want to be here. I need to go. I cannot be around you. I have to leave. Quit touching me. I don't want you to touch me. Don't hug me. I didn't know how to do that because I always fear repercussions. Yeah. And so I love that a lot of people are taking the negative stuff from my generation and really like flipping the script. Yeah. Well, I know we talked about some probably not great things today, but I really think that it's important, because as younger generations listen to us, as we have been through a lot of this stuff, I think it's important that they understand that even if you've been in some of the shittiest relationships, there's something always really beautiful on the other side. And I can definitely speak for that because I've been through it, and I have a pretty great marriage. I'm really happy. And all of that stuff that I went through, it fucking sucked. But I feel like it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of made me into the person I am now. And I really like that person.
And if you are the shitty person in the relationship, you can change.
Yeah.
You can have a healthy relationship. It can get better for you.
You can grow. And I just know that no matter what somebody says, if they treat you shitty and still say they love you, their actions are what you need to go off of, not their words.
But give them a little bit of grace.
But how much?
Just enough to. If Joey had not given me any grace, we would not be here.
And I get that, but was your behavior abusive?
No,
because that's really what I'm referring to. So like, if you've got somebody, and I'll even do it from a woman's point of view, if she's saying she loves you, but she's calling you a worthless fat piece of shit, and she's not cooking dinner for you while she's cooking for herself, or she's being passive aggressive, or whatever, that's not love.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
That's not love.
We're not talking abusive.
Growing together and not being perfect and being flawed is part of being a human. But there's kind of being shitty and doing the wrong thing, and then there is years of repetitive behavior or just months of repetitive behavior that, I'm sorry, but that eventually is, yeah, because like a one-off is one thing, but constant negative and repetitive bad behavior is something really different.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is if someone is actually remorseful and they make an effort to change.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they're going to change overnight. It doesn't mean that they're going to be on the right track for a little while and maybe fall off a little bit. But if someone is actually remorseful, willing to put in the work to change, that's where I'm coming from.
There's a difference when someone's doing something out of love and out of fear and out of a mental disorder. There's something completely different. Narcissism or bipolar disorder. Yeah. Because they can be undiagnosed bipolar and coping with alcohol or shit, even Adderall, thinking, oh, I just have ADHD. And it doesn't change their behavior. It just gives them these spikes, and they just are up and down. And, that's a hard thing to deal with. But I feel like bipolar disorder is treatable, where narcissism is just a personality flaw, almost like a serial killer. Yeah. I'm just saying. There's some things you cannot psychoanalyze or get therapy and change from, because some things you're just wired wrong. I mean, I don't think you could have taken Jeffrey Dahmer and been like, let's get you a shrink. You're going to stop eating people's skin. I don't think that. Sorry. There's nothing you can do about that. Be crazy. There's some people that are just fucking nuts. And there's some people that have trauma and undiagnosed mental illness that can be treated, and things can be fixed or managed. But there's some that you just can't. Just saying. There's some you just can't. And that's all for today. Now that we're talking about cannibalism, we'll just stop right there. So sorry.
And that's going to be it.
I digress.
Thanks for joining us on this roller coaster
episode where we're like this.
So thanks for joining us for red flags, green flags, and cannibalism.
And a little bit of cannibalism at the very end of the episode.
We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.